All right, you've been watching the press conference at the Pentagon there. We have now learned the operation named Midnight Hammer. Yeah. Remarkable details in the operation as the world watched B-2 stealth bombers fly west towards Hawaii and Guam. 7 B-2 bombers, 2 crew members each, refueling, flying east, delivering their targets, hitting their targets, 14 total bombs under total stealth. Not a single shot fired, says Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Dan Kane, saying that no missiles were launched, no shots fired at our mission, no Iranian planes got airborne. They simply didn't see it.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again. Yo, this your boy SL550, and this is the N.G.L.A. podcast, man. We never gonna lose again, baby. We never gonna lose again. First and foremost, before we start, I want y'all to like, share, subscribe to the channel, comment if you wish. Just know that everything that you guys do, I do appreciate it, baby. So today, man, we got a few things going on. So it's a lot going on in the Middle East, man, and I don't know, man. I got some mixed opinions about it, and not because I'm Muslim, just because. Just doing some research, you start to realize, like, is the news that we're getting on what's going on factual? I mean, to it, I say most of it is, but the thing that I dislike about it, right, is I feel like we got baited into this whole situation, and I'm gonna get into that. But first, let's get the details on everything that's been going on, basically this last week, and then leading up to the U.S. military going in there and hitting these nuclear facilities. So let's watch this video and see what's going on.
I want to bring back the special report anchor and our executive editor, Brett Baer. Brett, it's remarkable, these details, to learn that we literally got in and out without really being detected, hit all targets. It just strikes you at really the dominance. We heard from Secretary Hegseth, the unmatched capability of the American military. But boy, you really got to see it here, and likely sending a message to those that would do us harm.
Definitely. This is exactly what we were hoping for. Some details, as you mentioned, 7 B-2 bombers. This is the largest B-2 mission ever in the history of the U.S., dropping 14 of these massive ordnance penetrator bombs. Remember, those are 30,000 pounds each, the GBU-57. That's 420,000 pounds of ordnance just in the B-2 bombers dropping on those 3 nuclear sites. Then you add some 30-plus Tomahawk missiles from U.S. submarines. You've got 75 precision-guided bombs falling on these nuclear sites. Essentially, the message was, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program, and there is time for Iran to get back to the table, and the president seeks peace. But as we talked about before we came to this press conference, and Rachel, you mentioned the deception and the effort to really tighten down on operational security. You heard a little bit about that. Not only decoy planes going different places, also ghost planes on radars, as well as the B-2s going to the west, while others flew from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. They are not saying exactly what the battle damage assessment is. Rightfully so. They're waiting for some more details on the ground. But that's really the big question. Where does Iran's nuclear program stand tonight or today? And this sounds like it is pretty devastated and decimated.
Brett, do you have any sense as to how they, quote unquote, complete a BDA, a battle damage assessment? Because, you know, at this point, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's unlikely that the Iranians are going to welcome in inspectors to look at what's left.
Yeah, the Israelis are on the ground. They're on the ground in significant numbers. We don't know exactly how, where, when, but they will provide some battle damage assessment from the ground, and then obviously our satellites and what we have in the air can give us decent pictures. I think the question about the nuclear material is what the chairman of the Joint Chiefs was asked, and said he's going to need more time. I was struck by, you know, this isn't about regime change. This is very precision. We talked about that going in. That was the message from the president last night, and it is one in which the Iranian leadership has to make a decision now. But if there is an attack on a U.S. facility, U.S. people, U.S. soldiers, U.S. bases, all bets are off.
Brad, they were asked, Secretary Hegseth was asked if the administration is in direct contact with Iran. Of course, he said yes, public and private measures. But something he said they know exactly what steps they need to take for peace. He didn't say what those steps are. What do you think those steps are?
Well, to give up enrichment has been one of the bars to start, and I think there's a long
So, you know what? Let me finish this
list that they've been talking about with the Europeans that has circulated around that the Iranians turned their back on in Geneva. They may turn their back the other way, go back to the table, considering what they just saw last night. But we'll see. The question really is the Iranian leadership and when we hear from them. So far, it's been a lot of bluster online, a lot of social media saying, you know, the response is yet to come. It is going to be devastating for Israel and the U.S. Clearly, we'll see. And we mentioned the tentacles of terrorist cells that we really have to be careful of.
Yeah.
All right, so I was doing a little digging earlier, but I wanted to check something real quick. So, so this is the thing, right? So the U.S. had a deal with Iran. It was the Iran deal. It was called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. And basically we were able to go in and basically see, you know, basically what they were doing, what they was cooking up. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, did Iran actually have? There's no definitive answer. So what I did was, I be fucking with the AI, right? So I be fucking with Grok, ChatGPT. It's all the same, pretty much, you know. But the one thing I can say is it does give you accurate information, right? So I went to Grok and I wanted to ask Grok. I asked Grok a few questions. So I'm gonna ask them same questions to Grok, and then we gonna discuss what Grok says, right? Grok, how many nukes does Iran have? Now it wants to act up. Hey Grok, how many nuclear bombs do Iran have?
There's no definitive evidence Iran has any nuclear bombs. The country insists its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes, like energy production. However, concerns exist because Iran has enriched uranium to 60% purity, close to the 90% needed for weapons-grade material. Estimates suggest they could potentially produce enough for 7 to 9 bombs if they chose to, but no confirmed nukes exist as of now. It's a tense topic, with lots of speculation but no hard proof.
Another question. How many nuclear bombs do Israel have?
Israel's nuclear arsenal is a bit of a mystery, as they've never officially confirmed having nukes. Estimates from experts and think tanks, like the Federation of American Scientists, suggest Israel likely has between 80 and 400 nuclear warheads, with most guesses leaning toward the lower end, around 80 to 100. They've maintained this ambiguous stance since the 1960s, neither confirming nor denying their capabilities. It's a strategic choice, keeping everyone guessing.
Was Israel part of the JCP?
Israel was not part of the JCPOA, or the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal. That agreement, signed in 2015, involved Iran, the United States, Russia, China, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and the European Union. Israel, while vocally critical of the deal due to concerns about Iran's nuclear ambitions, wasn't a signatory or direct participant. They've long pushed for stricter measures against Iran's program.
And how much did it cost for the recent U.S. bomb in Iran?
The cost of the recent U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites, dubbed Operation Midnight Hammer, varies by source but ranges significantly. Reports estimate the total cost between $260 million and $700 million, covering 7 B-2 bombers, 14 GBU-57 bunker buster bombs at roughly $3.6 million each, and over 2 dozen Tomahawk missiles at about $3.8 million each. Additional costs include fighter jet operations like F-22s and F-35s, with hourly rates adding tens of millions. Iran claims minimal damage, raising questions about the operation's value. It's a hefty price tag for a contested outcome.
So,
Anyway, about that hefty price tag for the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites, hundreds of millions for bombs and jets, yet Iran's down.
okay, so what I get is that we don't really know for sure, but they're saying that I believe it's uranium was at 60%, close to the 90% that they needed in order to make a bomb or bombs, right? Nuclear bombs. But it wasn't definitive. And when you look at the reports that have been reported, that's all that has been reported. There was no definitive, definite answer. Now, mind you, better safe than sorry, but at the same time, the country that's pushing this whole war with Iran, even though it's not 100%, but a lot of reliable sources say that Israel has anywhere between 80 and 400. Speculation is more on the lower end, between 80 and 100 nuclear weapons. But they were one of the, if not the only country that wasn't part of the JCPOA, which was basically the nuclear deal. You know what I'm saying? Which would allow, basically, that's why during that clip they said that they don't believe that they will let anybody go in there and inspect to see what actual damage was done, basically. You know what I'm saying? Because before all of this, during this the JCP, they was able to basically go and inspect and know, I guess, definitively that Iran didn't have a nuclear weapon. But my whole thing is there was nothing to suggest really that they did. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, even though understandably Donald Trump has been saying that he doesn't want Iran to have nuclear capability, I believe Benjamin Netanyahu really wants to wipe Iran off the planet, bro. I think this is what it all boils down to. This is more of a religious war more than anything else. This dates back a long time. And honestly, man, it's you're hearing all of these different things that Iran might strike against the United States. I don't know. I don't think so. But the facts is that this was a hefty price for the taxpayers. Upwards of basically $300 million for a strike against a maybe, basically. They might have had it. And because they might have, we didn't want to take the chance, so we're going to go over there and bomb their nuclear facilities. Now, mind you, the one thing that I can respect about what Trump did, and this is what everybody should get out of this, is that he doesn't want to kill innocent people. He didn't even really want to kill any soldiers. He just wanted to bomb the facilities. So they go to kind of show you that the type of man that Donald Trump is. He doesn't really want to see blood spilled in the street, man. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to these wars, man, you never really know, man. So much speculation about 9/11 and the real reason behind 9/11. You know, you hear all of these different stories and these different conspiracies about it, and you start to wonder, man, like, because my whole thing is, man, if you think that, all right, so this is my thing. If you ask any American, most American, I'm not gonna say any, but most Americans, right? Your average American, their opinion on Muslims in general, especially in the Middle East, they would say that they're terrorists, bro. But if you go to the Middle East and ask any of the countries in the Middle East about the United States, they would tell you that the United States were the real terrorists. So I love my country, man. I love being from America. But America does have some things in its past, man. And the only thing that keeps me kind of like with this whole situation, that kind of keeps me like iffy about it, is because I truly know that Donald Trump doesn't want war, bro. I think if Iran would have came to the table before we took that initiative with the strike and said, hey, look, you welcome to come see. We don't have no nuclear weapons. You know, whatever it takes, we don't want to go to war. Especially with the United States, I believe that that strike would have never happened. But, I mean, listen, man. Like I said in my last video, man, it's a lot of Muslims out there in the Middle East who are doing things that is against Islam in the name of Islam, and it's giving a bad name, man. And all of this stuff just sucks, man, because it's just, when you really think about it, bro, it's just a bunch of unnecessary people dying, bro. On every side, bro. It doesn't matter which side. You know what I'm saying? Because when you really think about it, it's like, for what? You know what I mean? For what? What is all this? What is all this going down for, man? And $300 million mission, just about, give or take. and it's not even 100% that they even had the weapons. And then I seen small clips of them saying that they really didn't do much damage or Iran laughing at the United States, like, because they acting like they did something or something. I don't know, man. You hear so much mixed shit, you don't know what to believe, man. But at the end of the day, man, I think that Trump got baited into this whole situation. And from his standpoint, he been saying that he doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. So, hey, man, from America's standpoint, did he do the right thing? Maybe he did. But I believe from Israel's perspective, I think that they started all of this, and it was more personal. The excuse was Iran has nuclear capabilities. But then again, what do we know? You know what I'm saying? We don't get to classify information. So we don't know what Trump knows. We don't know what his administration knows. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what Pete Hegseth knows. You know what I'm saying? They actually in the mix. They're getting the classified information. They getting the information from on the ground. So maybe they did, man. Who knows? But all I know is, man, is it's a lot of unnecessary people dying, and when it gets to just bombing countries and come on, like, just average people out here living life and got nothing to do with any of this shit that Benjamin Netanyahu and Iran's leaders and regime they don't got nothing to do with it. Most of them probably don't give a shit. They just trying to survive. And yet, they got to worry about bombs, hitting their neighborhoods and shit, man. That shit is crazy, man. I can't imagine, bro. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. And I think that's the scary part, too, is that the United States has been so spoiled to being basically on the winning side of things that people think that can't happen here. And that's just not true, bro. So, I just hope Trump plays his cards right, man, because this shit can get real spooky, man. But on another note, man, I want to talk about Stephen A's, basically his reaction on the NAACP not inviting Trump. Me personally, who gives a shit? Man, it's sad, bro, because at one point, bro, the NAACP meant something to the black culture, bro. Now, it's a joke, bro, because it's filled with a bunch of sellouts, bro. And it's to the point where you don't even know who really has the best interest of black people, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's just sad, bro. But let's hear what Stephen A. got to say about it.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Now let's get to the NAACP and two headlines linked to the civil rights organization. The first involves President Donald Trump. The organization announced they will not invite the president to their national convention next month in Charlotte, North Carolina. This would mark the first time the NAACP has opted to exclude a sitting president in its 116-year history. NAACP President Derek Johnson announced the move during a press conference, accusing Trump of working against its mission. Here's a portion of what Johnson had to say. Quote, "This has nothing to do with political party. Our mission is to advance civil rights. And the current president has made clear that his mission is to eliminate civil rights," end quote. The NAACP has filed multiple lawsuits against Trump in the last few months, including suing Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Now let's get to the NAACP and two headlines linked to the civil rights organization. The first involves President Donald Trump. The organization announced they will not invite the president to their national convention next month in Charlotte, North Carolina. This would mark the first time the NAACP has opted to exclude a sitting president in its 116-year history. NAACP President Derek Johnson announced the move during a press conference, accusing...
You got to think about that, though, right? 116 years. 116 years. That means that was during the time when it was real for black people out here. It was real. Segregation, Jim Crow, we talking about all that. So you telling me that now... No, hold on. You telling me that 100 years ago, during some of the most racial times in America, the presidents went to this NAACP event and spoke, but yet Donald Trump, who probably did more, no, I'm not even gonna say probably, who did more for the black community with the First Step Back, with long-term funding to HBCUs, with the Platinum Plan, who did more for black people than any of them presidents. That's crazy. Some of this shit that they do, bro, just don't make sense to me, bro. You know, they want to say he's... Bro, hold on.
Trump of working against its mission.
What did they say?
Here's a portion of what Johnson had to say. Quote, "This has nothing to do with political party. Our mission is to advance civil rights. And the current president has made clear that his mission is to
eliminate what civil rights, bro? What civil rights is Donald Trump eliminating, bro? Like, bro, this the shit I be talking about, bro. These people are just paid actors, bro. Literally. Even this dude, Derek Johnson, if you asked him what civil rights is he, has he, or is he going to eliminate? The answer is none, bro. And he won't be able to tell you any because he knows it's not true. But it's not about the truth, bro. It's all about pushing lies, bro. Because as long as they can get a certain amount, it's all a numbers game, bro. As long as they can get a certain amount of people to believe what they're saying. Yo, I literally had my cousin today. Oh, what's up? Yo, every time she say, oh, what's up with your boy? And it's like, first of all, I voted for Donald Trump. It ain't my boy, but at the end of the day, he was the best candidate. And I based that off his first term. When I didn't vote for him, and when I was on the other side of the conversation, just like everybody else, just like she was. And then, you know, come on, bro. I just woke up to the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we gotta start doing better, bro. And motherfuckers just be, bro, they look at these, they be on social media, bro. Motherfuckers' attention span is so little, they can't even watch a full video, bro. They gotta watch a clip. They watching these little clips of misinformation about a lie, and then they run with it. And then and she'll come to me and say, oh, your boy trying to, she came to me before and said, oh, your boy, what'd she say? Your boy is, what did she say he was doing? I forget what she said. Taking away welfare or something. She said something, bro. That just wasn't true. And I sent her the information. Oh no, that's why I be asking you, because you be giving me the information. Man. But then you come to me today, literally today, and say a bunch of dumb shit. Because they don't be having the information, bro. They don't even want the information. One thing that I learned, bro, when it comes to Donald Trump is people have just have been manipulated to really hate this man, like on a personal level though. Like my whole thing is, yeah, I may have, even when I was on the other side and I didn't vote for Donald Trump, or I was the one, I was saying what everybody else was saying. Oh, he's a racist. He this, he that. Even then, I didn't hate the man because what was there to hate? I don't personally even know this dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going off of what I hear. You know what I'm saying? But now that's different. I'm going off of what I know, what I've seen. I see the lies every day. They lie about this man, bro. And this is a lie right here. The president has made it clear that his mission is to eliminate civil rights, bro. Bro, these motherfuckers is crazy. It's sad.
Eliminate civil rights, end quote. The NAACP has filed multiple lawsuits against Trump in the last few months, including suing to stop the Department of Education from withholding federal money for schools that did not end DEI programs, arguing the department was prohibiting legal efforts to provide equal opportunity to black students. First things first, respect to Derek Johnson. I understand where you're coming from. I just don't agree, respectfully. I don't agree that this was the right decision to make. Number one, let's stop associating DEI with black people. When you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we all know that the biggest beneficiaries of DEI has been white women. And we all know that folks associate DEI with individuals who weren't qualified but were just giving an opportunity so a place could be diverse. And that's not what I would classify us as, and I'm certain that you wouldn't either, Mr. Johnson. So that's number one. Number two, here's where my reticence really comes in. Why not let the 47th President of the United States come and address the NAACP convention? Why not give Donald Trump a chance to sit before your audience, your constituents, and explain exactly what he's doing and why? Why not let him do that? Why not let him stand before the very people whose lives he's purported to have had a profound effect upon with some of his decisions, and let him explain what is it that he's doing and why? When we talk about the Department of Education, again, we all understand that our students need all the help that we can get, especially in the public schools. There's no question about that. Federal funding is essential, and we understand that. But at some point in time, don't we have an obligation to look at exactly what the Education Department has done and whether or not it has served to benefit our community, as in the black community, along with various communities throughout the country, throughout this country, the United States of America? Do we just write a check and automatically give it to people, taxpayer dollars to people, without deciphering how well they do their jobs? Are we not allowed to probe and to look at them and to say, what exactly are you doing with the American dollars, with the taxpayer dollars from the American citizens? I don't know the answer. I'm not proclaiming to know the answer. I'm simply saying I want to hear if the president is taking this strong position and he's campaigned on eradicating the Department of Education for years. Why does he feel that way? What evidence does he have to validate his assertions? And if indeed there is profound evidence to support such a position, who are those that are supporting it? We need to ask those questions. And I think that standing before members of the NAACP at your very own convention, I think that that would serve well to invite him and let him come before you all and try to explain what he's doing. So you'll have him on the record, not just sound bites that airs on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or ABC, CBS, NBC or what.
That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. At the end of the day, Trump, everything that Trump is doing, he said he was going to do during his campaign. So when they act like they shocked, that's when you know it's bullshit, because he already said it, and he said the reasons why he was doing it. he said that he was going to, he didn't, first of all, getting rid of the Department of Education and federally. That's what he's saying, federally. Meaning these states are still going to get money, but I'm going to give it to the states. So that way the states can make sure that it's going to the right places. He understands that the people that's, first of all, you got the Department of Education, and it's a bunch of people that's there that ain't doing shit. The same schools that been fucked up are still fucked up. They've been fucked up for decades. And more importantly, he has said that we are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to education, bro. Especially in the black community. So at the end of the day, it's just like anything in business. Which store that is doing poorly stays open? None. The only ones that stay open are franchises like McDonald's, because they are profitable. They make money. They have a product that works for them. The Department of Education in the federal government doesn't work. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. So you would think that these so-called Democrats who are the true ones who are fighting for the people would agree with that. And what's hilarious is, and it's so much you could do, but you got a little bit of time that you're working with, and you can't put it all in there. You wish you could, but there's literally videos, bro, that you can go back with multiple things, including immigration. You can go back. I showed a clip of Obama, who deported the most immigrants, who said, who ran on it, who said they got to come here the proper way. So did Hillary Clinton. Bro, it's so many of these things, including taking fraud, waste, and abuse out of the government. Nancy Pelosi, Obama, a few of them, bro. I believe Hillary Clinton too. They have all said it. They have all said that there was fraud, waste, and abuse in the government, bro, and that it needed to be handled. Now, Donald Trump is the only one that's actually acting on it. Because this is my theory, bro. I believe that most of these politicians that get into politics, I believe that they go in it with good intentions and want to actually be a good constituent for their people. But once they get in it and they realize, like, oh shit, this ain't what I thought it was. And then you got the people that's already in it, that been in it, that been taking advantage of it, who's saying like, look, bro, you can either get what we doing or we gonna just eliminate you. You know what I'm saying? You see what they did with Tulsi when she flipped? They put her on the terrorist watch list. Try to say she was a terrorist and she was working with a foreign government and all of this shit. Like, bro, this is what they do, bro. But you could literally, it's not even a secret. It's literally on the internet. You can literally Google it. Google Obama immigration. He deported the most. They actually took pictures from that. I think it was a picture of kids in cages or behind a fence or something like that. But they said it was kids in cages, and they said it was during Trump's administration. They said Trump did it, but it was actually pictures from Obama's administration, bro. Yo, bro, these people are crazy, bro. These people are crazy, bro. And my whole thing is, It's not as if you can't get the information. It's not like the shit is classified information or something, bro. Like, this is literally information that you can literally go on your phone right now, take it out, and Google, boop, 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 boop. And it's right there, bro.
Whatever. No, let him sit before you and explain and defend his position. Most importantly, you could try to ignore the President of the United States. But you know what can't be ignored? His actions. Until 2028, Mr. Derek Johnson, he's not going away. He's not going away. By the way, the NAACP did sue him, and you remember, did sue him with a civil suit, successfully, I might add, as it pertained to the insurrection in 2021 on January 6th. Did that stop him from becoming president again? He's been sued, he's been convicted, 34 felony counts, whatever. Did it send him to jail? Didn't he still run for re-election? Didn't he still skate right through the GOP? Didn't he win the popular vote and the electoral college vote and every swing state? You don't get to ignore him, is my point. He has been the most powerful, the most influential member of the GOP since 2015. How does you refusing to invite him, ostracizing him, not wanting to hear what he has to say to you all, how does that help you? How? I'm not saying agree with him. I'm not saying side with him. I'm not saying befriend him. I'm not saying any of those things. But ignoring him ain't going to get it done. Not if you truly want to be about the business of helping folks, particularly the desolate and disenfranchised in our country, the urban communities throughout America. Not that that's all the NAACP does, because I'm certainly not implying that. All I'm saying is that clearly is who you're interested in helping. Ignoring him and not even inviting him to come and speak at your convention, what's that going to accomplish? For the first time in a 116-year history, you're not inviting a president. Are you trying to tell me that there's no president that has been as offensive to the NAACP as Donald Trump in 116 years? Are you really making that argument? That no matter what you think about Donald Trump, that's the only person, that's the only president of the United States that you've been able to say that about in a 116-year history of the NAACP. 116 years. Doing the math, that goes back to 1909. Since 1909, there's no president that has ever been more offensive to the NAACP than Donald Trump. Is that your argument? Let's say for the sake of argument that it is for the moment. Other than the progressive left, who's going to definitively agree with your position? You might have folks out there that want to contribute to the causes of the NAACP that are center-left and center-right. They may not agree with Donald Trump either, but they recognize the importance of being able to work with the President of the United States. Just think about it. I don't think this is the right move. If all of us had to like the people we had to deal with and do business with, how would business ever get done in this country, if not this world? It's a rhetorical question, Mr. Derek Johnson. I know you know the answer. Let me move on to a second headline involving the NAACP. And this is pertaining to Elon Musk in the city of Memphis. The NAACP, along with the Southern Environmental Law Center, said they intend to sue Elon Musk artificial intelligence company called XAI. They have major concerns about air pollution generated by a supercomputer facility located near predominantly black communities in Memphis. The XAI data center began operating last year, powered in part by pollution-emitting gas turbines, without first applying for a permit. Officials have said an exemption allowed them to operate for up to 364 days without a permit. However, Southern Environmental Law Center says there is no such exemption for turbines and that it's now been more than a year. They also say the use of the turbines violates the Clean Air Act and that residents who live near the facility already face cancer risk at 4 times the national average. That last sentence is all that matters to me.
Yo, before he finished, man, it's like 3 minutes left in this little part of the video. If Elon Musk never supported Trump, you think they would have ever brought that up? Of course they wouldn't, bro. They was fucking with Elon Musk when he was donating, what, $400 million to their campaign. They was fucking with him then. But when Elon Musk woke up, like majority of Americans did when they voted for Donald Trump, now Elon Musk in a way, Elon Musk did a lot of, and this is the reason why they mad about X. They mad because Elon bought X and he allowed people to have free speech on it. Elon Musk seen what they was doing when people, bro, it's not a secret. This is what I'm trying to say, bro. This is why it's so confusing to me when people even argue or even say anything. Listen, I fuck with Stephen A on the sports shit, but the thing I dislike about Stephen A. Smith is that you don't know, I guess he play in the middle. Cool. And that's fine. But he knows, bro. He even said it on The View, bro. Trump had a mandate. He understood that the American people overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump. He won every swing state. So, and on top of that, he literally said every single thing that he would do. And now he's doing it, and they act. It doesn't matter what he does, bro. It doesn't matter what he does. They're going to be against it. And then the whole Elon thing, like I said, bro, they was fucking with Elon when he was donating money, when he was fucking with them. They loved him. They literally was trying to turn every vehicle in the United States to electric vehicles. Who you think was the benefactor of that? Elon Musk, bro. Now they want to act like they don't fuck with Elon Musk, man. And then, more importantly, bro, they just want to, all it is that's why, yo, the one thing, it's all about opposing Donald Trump, no matter what. And that's why you never hear no solutions. And that's what I want people to focus on. Okay, you oppose all of these different things that Donald Trump is doing. That the Doge and what Elon Musk was doing. What's the solution? What's your solution? Donald Trump trying to take fraud, waste, and abuse out of the government. He's trying to make sure that the taxpayers' money is going to actually where it said it's going. Meaning showing receipts. And not just having billions of dollars, if not trillions, missing, and they don't even know where it's at. They literally failed an audit. What was it, 7 years? Matter of fact, they failed the audit ever since they started auditing the government. If the government was an actual business, it wouldn't exist, bro. The government doesn't exist without the people. But yeah, you got the Democratic Party who's shitting on the people, bro. But yet people still are so brainwashed to just the party, bro. They just brainwashed to the party that they don't even see that they're getting fucked. And that's the part that's crazy. Let's finish this video, man.
No doubt this is in South Memphis, from what I read, that it's a poor and impoverished neighborhood. Now, Elon Musk and his company will tell you that it's generating billions for the local economy, if not at least hundreds of millions of dollars. They're talking about plants that are being built, one that's cost over $35 million and something else, and that's going to generate jobs. We certainly understand the importance of generating jobs, generating revenue, stimulating an economy, making sure that folks within the Memphis community, specifically the South Memphis community, are benefiting. As Mayor Paul Young pointed out, they're trying to make sure that the revenue generated, at least 25% of that revenue is allocated for folks within a 5-mile radius of this plant. I respect that. I understand it. I understand the importance of economics. I understand the importance of a flourishing local economy. I understand about jobs. I get it, because you want to pay your bills and what have you. But air pollution, risk of cancer 4 times greater than it normally is. What good is everything I mentioned if you're dead? We can't have that. We can't have that. So the NAACP, according to law, is obligated. If you're going to file this lawsuit, you got to give them 60 days notice, and that is what has happened. So this lawsuit essentially is forthcoming, and we'll know the facts. And in fairness to Elon Musk and XAI, they've essentially said that they violated no laws. They followed all the protocols and the rules and regulations necessary to justify doing this project, and this is what they're doing. But if their health is endangered at 4 times the normal rate of what it normally would be, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a problem. And there's nobody on this planet, especially nobody in the United States of America, especially nobody in Memphis, who should sit silent about this. We're as strong as our weakest link. And those impoverished, living in impoverished neighborhoods, need our voice. They need our help. So we need to keep a watchful eye on this, and to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, to ensure that while revenue is being generated, that corners aren't being cut to potentially compromise the well-being of the impoverished amongst us. They matter just as much as the rest of us. Just as much as the rest of us. And there's no way in hell that we should sit idly by and be quiet if something like this is potentially going on.
Bro, this is the shit I'm talking about with Stephen A, bro. It's like he wants, listen, it's like he say to a degree what needs to be said, because he knows that he know a lot of black folks watching. But he also got to play the other side, because it might be he don't want to lose his audience. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't, bro. It's just funny to me, bro, because these are the same people you just criticized for not inviting Donald Trump to the NAACP event, whatever it was. Right? And you saying how that doesn't make sense, and that basically is bullshit. But then on the other hand, you trying to validate what they saying about this whole situation in South Memphis with X. I ain't running with it, bro. I ain't running with it, bro. And what's hilarious is this, right? You want to talk about air pollution, right? Now, I've heard Stephen A. speak on, gun violence and things like that. So I'm not going to sit there and say that he hasn't never spoken on situations that go on in the black communities. But are we really going to be up in arms about that? How about you sue every motherfucking Democrat, mayor, governor, for allowing all the shit that goes on in most of these Democrat states? Like, bro, these people are a joke, bro. These people are a joke, bro. And it's just reality, bro. It's just so crazy that, actually, it was funny now because now I want to ask ChatGPT about this. Hey, Grok. Hey, Grok, is Elon Musk's AI facility in South Memphis causing bad air pollution?
All right, let's dive into this. Elon Musk's XAI facility in South Memphis, known as Colossus, has sparked a lot of concern about air pollution. The issue centers on dozens of methane gas turbines, up to 35 by some counts, that power the supercomputer. These turbines are pumping out smog-forming pollutants like nitrogen oxides and harmful chemicals like formaldehyde, which can mess with air quality and health, especially in a place like South Memphis that's already dealing with industrial pollution from steel mills, oil refineries, and more. Environmental groups, like the Southern Environmental Law Center, found these turbines operating without proper air permits, which is a big deal, potentially violating the Clean Air Act. Locals, including folks in the predominantly black Boxtown neighborhood, are pissed, saying they're getting sick with asthma and cancer rates already high in the area. On the flip side, Memphis Mayor Paul Young has defended XAI, saying only 15 turbines are actually running, with others as backup, and the company's bringing jobs and billions in investment. XAI claims they're adding emissions controls and spending big on infrastructure, like a power substation and water recycling plant. But aerial imagery from environmental groups showed 33 turbines active, not 15, which undercuts the backup claim. The NAACP and others are now threatening lawsuits, and the EPA is sniffing around for Clean Air Act violations. So yeah, the facility's likely adding to South Memphis's air quality woes, especially with unpermitted turbines spewing pollutants in an area that's already ground zero for industrial smog. But XAI's economic benefits and mitigation efforts are part of the counter-argument. It's a messy situation. Health risks versus economic gains, and the lack of transparency from XAI isn't helping. If you want more specifics, I can dig deeper or check X for the latest chatter. What's your take?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Who knows, man? But you gotta say to yourself, is it? Is it beneficial? Is it not? What I get from it is the information that even Grok is receiving is information that has already been put out there, but it's not concrete because one side saying this and the other side is saying this. So, okay, what Stephen A. said, we'll see. We'll see. But it's just hilarious, man, that it's bigger. My thing is the NAACP knows that it's way bigger problems in the black community than air pollution, bro. It's way bigger problems, bro, that we need to be worrying about. You know what I'm saying? We need to be worrying about the educational system, first and foremost. We need to be getting back to two-parent households, you know what I'm saying? Raising these kids right, you know what I'm saying? And my thing is this, understand that my opinion on the black community is coming from my experience because I was a statistic of the black community for 15, maybe a little longer years. And I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. You know what I'm saying? And which I did time for. You know what I'm saying? And I had to go through that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, my views is coming from experience because I was in the black community. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a product of the black community. And I know that and that we need to do a lot of reconstruction, bro, because it ain't good, man. And I really worry about, my son, I'm dealing with stuff with my son. And, he a real good kid. And I see a lot of kids, man. Really good kids, man. We just get caught up. We get caught up in what's going on, bro. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of change that need to be done. And it's a lot more bullshit going on in these communities other than fucking air pollution, bro. And at the end of the day, I believe Elon Musk is doing a lot of good, definitely creating a lot of jobs, and stimulating the economy. We just need we need to wear. My whole thing is fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when it gets down to it, bro, that shit's still gonna run. Because it's just what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? When unfortunately, when you got money, you got power. So if you think for a second that plant is gonna shut down and stop jobs and stop money flowing in South Memphis, you're bugging. It's just not gonna happen, bro. But I don't see Elon Musk purposefully running his company in a way that he knows is going to affect the community. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that, man. It's the same dude that borrowed money and paid it back with interest. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta stop looking at all. We also gotta understand too that most of the things that's reported right now, has always been reported since Donald Trump became president, is negative. It's 98% negative, bro. So you're not gonna hear nothing really good. You know what I'm saying? And the only people that only news station that does report somewhat accurate and on the positive side for Trump is Fox. And the flip side to that is that everybody is say Fox is giving out misinformation. So it's a crazy situation, man. But just like Donald Trump, just like Stephen A. said though, man, he gonna be the president for the next 4 years, bro. So, 3.5. So y'all gonna have to fucking deal with it, man. And I just want to see motherfuckers. This is my thing, right? Besides, I want motherfuckers to be open-minded and start looking at things differently. And my whole thing is if Trump do some bullshit, I'm gonna say he did some bullshit. I ain't really fucking with this whole war situation, to be honest with you. I think it is unnecessary. I think that there's definitely other ways to go about, making sure Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. But, listen, you got people that this is my thing with that. People make military weapons, right? And they make them to do what? To sell them. So at the end of the day, people, they need to sell this shit. And this is money, man. So if you think for a second that these motherfuckers gonna have a bunch of fucking nukes and bombs and all of this military shit and they ain't gonna use it, tripping. Because I just don't see it. I don't see what's the sense of the wars other than conquering a country, taking it over. A country might have minerals or some type of, assets that you may want. You going over there, and that's the only things I can see. Outside of that, I just don't see it being, we got to go to war. Like the Ukraine and Russia shit. It's got to be, I want to take over your country. That's about it, bro. Other than that, bro, it's like for nothing. It's just like, I don't know, motherfuckers just hate each other for fucking centuries, I guess. I don't know. That shit weird, man. We need some peace in the world, man. And I hope Trump brings some peace back, man, because all of this shit that's going on right now, bro, is fucking ridiculous. And I feel like, honestly, I thought it would get better when Trump got in office, but it seems like it's getting worse. I'm just being real, man. And from the way that they did that mission, I could kind of take from it that Donald Trump just doesn't want to go over there and start bombing cities and on some Hiroshima shit. But he gotta back up his homie. But I don't know. We'll see, man. But anyway, man, till next time, it's your boy SL550. It's the N.G.L.A. podcast, man. Make sure y'all fucking hit that motherfucker subscribe button, man. Got more content coming soon. I'll be on here tomorrow, man. Until then.